Jai Hind everyone, myself A.K. Dubey, Assistant Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today in this video I am going to discuss about the compound cylinder. I have already discussed about the thin cylinder, thick cylinder and stresses induced in the thin and thick cylinders. Now I will focus on the compound cylinder. I will tell you what is the compound cylinder. When one tube or one cylinder is shrunk over the another cylinder, then the assembly so obtained is known as compound cylinders. In doing so, it is necessary to have the inner radius of the outer tube somewhat smaller than the outer radius of the inner tube. If we shrink outer tube or outer cylinder over the inner, then a compressive stress will induce on the inner tube and a tensile stress will induce on the outer tube, and that stress is nothing but the hoop stress, because the radius of the outer tube, inner radius of the outer tube is less as compared to the outer radius of the inner tube. That is why these stresses are induced. But to do this, in order to make this assembly, outer tube is heated so that its inner radius may increase, may be greater than the outer radius of the inner tube. Then it is shrunk over the inner tube and it is assembly is allowed to cool down. When it cools down, outer tube shrinks and it compresses the inner tube, but at the same time inner tube pushes the outer tube outward. Therefore, a tensile stress is developed in the outer tube. Now, how this compound cylinder came into existence and what was the problem with the thick cylinder? If I see, there was a large variation of hoop stress across the wall of cylinder subjected to internal pressure, and the material of the cylinder is not therefore used to its best advantage. So, this was the reason: large variation of hoop stress across the wall thickness and the whole material is not up to its best use. Therefore, in order to obtain more uniform stress distribution, cylinders are often built up by shrinking one tube onto the outside of another. This I have already told. The outer tube contracts and cooling, the inner tube is brought into a state of compression. Means there are two tubes. This is the inner tube, and this is the outer tube. Say this is the inner tube, this is the inner radius of the inner tube and this is the outer radius of the inner tube. Now this is the outer tube this is the outer tube. So this is the inner radius of the outer tube and this is the outer radius of the outer tube. So in order to shrink this tube over this, it is necessary to have this inner radius of the outer tube somewhat smaller than the outer radius of the inner tube. Therefore, if we shrink this outer tube over the inner, so because of this, a radial pressure will exist at the junction radius, because when we will shrink one tube over the other, a final junction radial will be there, and since the inner radius of the outer tube is smaller than the outer radius of the inner tube, a radial pressure will exist. Then that cylinder is subjected to fluid under pressure. Suppose we have this outer tube, this is the outer radius, this is the inner radius, this is the inner tube, inner radius and outer radius. If I see, I can find the outer radius of the inner tube is greater than the inner radius of the outer tube. Then this is heated, this radius will increase, and then this is shrunk over the, this is fitted with this, and it is allowed to cool down. When it cools down, then assembly so obtained is known as compound, and a final, yeah, I can say a junction radius will be there, and this is nothing but the compromised radius between the two. Then inner tube will be under compression and outer tube will be under tension. So because of this compression and tension, hoop stress will induce. Inner tube will be under compressive hoop stress and outer tube will be under tensile hoop stress because of this radial pressure. Then it is subjected to fluid pressure. That fluid will also induce hoop stress across the wall thickness. I can find the resulting stress, resulting hoop stress at any radius. I can find here, I can find here, and I can find here, and it is nothing but the algebraic sum of the stresses induced because of radial pressure and because of this fluid pressure. If I say, if I put a fluid inside the tube, a cylinder, so this will be the variation of hoop stress from inner radius to outer radius, and it is nothing but the parabolic from the Lim's equation, and it is varying and continuously from outer inner to outer, and it is decreasing, the maximum at the inner and minimum at the outer radius. Now if we shrink outer tube over the inner tube, so because of that shrinking, hoop stress will induce, and already I told you कि inner tube will be under compressive hoop stress and outer tube will be under tensile hoop stress. So this is the compressive and this is the tensile. And now this assembly is subjected to fluid pressure. When this assembly is subjected to fluid pressure, resulting stresses will induce, and this is nothing but the algebraic sum. So this is the final hoop stress induced in the inner tube and at the outer tube. Now the method of solution for compound cylinder are constructed from similar materials to break the problem down into three separate effects. And what are those effects? Shrinkage pressure only on the inside cylinder, shrinkage pressure only on the outside cylinder, and internal pressure only onto the complete cylinder. So when fluid is filled in the compound cylinder, in the analysis of the problem, we consider it as a single cylinder, single thick cylinder. We do not consider it inner tube and outer tube. A single cylinder is considered. Now, for each of the resulting load conditions, there are two known values of radial stress which enable the Lehm's constant to be determined in the each case. Here, in order to find the hoop stress and radial stress in the inner tube, in the outer tube, because of radial pressure and because of fluid pressure, it is important to calculate the value of constant A and B. Here separately I will calculate the value of constants A and B for inner tube and then for outer tube because of radial pressure, and then we will calculate the constants A and B because of fluid pressure. So after getting these constants at any radius, we can find the resulting stress, resulting hoop stress, या resulting radial pressure. So suppose we have a compound cylinder this is the outer radius, this is the inner radius of the inner tube, this is the junction radius, say R3, and this is the outer radius, say R1. This one is the outer tube and this one is the inner tube, right? Outer tube and inner tube. Inner tube. So here first of all I will consider the radial pressure when one tube is shrunk over the another, yeah, one cylinder is shrunk over the another, and then it is subjected to fluid pressure, right? So suppose when one tube is shrunk over the another tube, so due to this, at the junction of the two tubes, this is the junction of the two tubes, let us assume radial pressure developed, and that radial pressure is, say, Pj. Pj is the radial pressure at the junction, and this is at radius R3. Now, from the Lehm's equation, sigma x hoop stress at any radius x is, say, B1 by x square minus plus A1, and this is equation 1. And radial pressure, yeah, radial stress Px equal to B1 by x square minus A1, and this is equation 2. So in order to find these constants A1, B1, okay, I will put the boundary condition. And what is that boundary condition? As we all know, at the junction at radius R3 Px is Pj, because this is the junction radius. So at junction radius pressure is Pj, and at outer radius pressure is 0, and at R1, I will say at x equal to R3 and at x equal to R1, this Px is 0. So if I put the value of Px, Pj here and Px equal to 0 here, I can find few more equations. Okay, so I am going to put now at x equal to R3 Px is Pj, then Pj equal to B1 by R3 square minus A1, and this is equation 3rd. At x equal to R1 outer radius of the outer tube, Px is going to be 0, then 0 equal to B1 by R1 square minus A1, this is equation 4. So if I see the equation 3 and 4, very easily I can find the value of A1 and B1, it can be evaluated. So once A1 and B1 is evaluated, I can find the hoop stress at the inner face of the outer tube, means at the junction, and I can find the hoop stress at the outer face outer radius of the outer tube, means sigma x can be calculated. So sigma x means sigma at R3 and sigma at R1, because we are known about the A1 and B1. Now for inner tube, so that condition which I discussed was for the outer tube. Now for the inner tube, from Lem's equation, Px equal to B2 by x square minus A2, and this will be equation 5th, and sigma x equal to B2 by x square plus A2, this will be equation 6th. Now I will put the boundary condition in order to get the A2 and B2, and we know at x equal to R2 Px is 0, because at this time there is no fluid inside the cylinder. Here we are considering only the radial pressure, therefore Px is 0. Then 0 equal to B2 by x R2 square minus A2, and this will be equation say 7. And at x equal to R3 at the junction, Px is Pj, then Pj equal to B2 by R3 square minus A2, and this is equation say 8th. So from equation 7 and from equation 8, we can find the value of A2 and B2. So once A2 and B2 are calculated, we can find the hoop stress at the inner radius of the inner tube and at the junction radius of the inner tube, yeah, I can say outer radius of the inner tube, and this will be compressive. Whatever hoop stress we are going to calculate for the inner tube will be compressive, but it will be different in value from inner to the junction. It will not be same, but in nature wise it must be compressive. Now that compound cylinder, a compound tube is subjected to fluid under pressure, say P naught. So when a fluid is filled inside the compound cylinder, this compound cylinder is treated as a single cylinder, and here we will see the variation of hoop stress from inner radius to outer radius of this single cylinder. So in order to find that variation of hoop stress, it is necessary to calculate the constants A and B again. Now compound cylinder is subjected to fluid pressure, say that is P naught. Now from Lehm's equation, Px equal to B by x square minus A, this is the next equation, and sigma x equal to B by x square plus A. So here I have taken constant A and B. For outer tube I have taken constant A1 B1, for inner tube A2 B2, and when fluid is filled in the compound cylinder, then I have considered constant A and B. Now from the boundary condition I can find these constants, and we know at x equal to R2 means at the inner radius, pressure Px equal to P naught, then P naught equal to B by R2 square minus A2, this is the next equation, and at x equal to R1 means at outer radius of the outer tube, Px is going to be 0. So then 0 equal to B by R1 square minus A, this is the next equation. Numbering can be done. So from this equation and this equation again we can find the value of A and B. So once we have calculated the value of A and B and we are known about the radius, easily we can find the hoop stress at the different locations, different radius. And what are those radius? At the inner face of the inner tube, at the junction, and at the outer radius. So these hoop stresses so obtained is due to the fluid pressure, and already we have hoop stresses because of radial pressure. Then we can find the resulting hoop stress at inner radius, at the junction radius, and at the outer radius, and this will be nothing but the algebraic sum of the hoop stresses so obtained, and final hoop stress can be calculated. Now if I use the compound cylinder, it means that the compound cylinder is able to withstand greater internal pressure before failure occurs. Yeah, alternatively that a thinner compound cylinder with the associated reduction material cost, if we will use the thinner cylinders, then cost will automatically reduce. May be used to withstand the same internal pressure as the single thick cylinder it replaces. So, this is the advantage of compound cylinder. Even we can use two cylinders of different material, and maybe out of those two, one material may be of inferior quality, and we prepare the compound cylinder, then that may serve the purpose. Now, this is the hoop stress due to radial pressure at the junction, and when fluid is filled inside the cylinder, and the resulting hoop stress. When we shrink one cylinder over the other, inner tube, this is the inner tube, inner cylinder, inner tube, and this inner tube will be under compression. If it is under compression, then because of that shrinkage, this is the variation of hoop stress for the inner tube. It is maximum compressive at the inner radius and minimum compressive at the junction radius, junction of the two cylinders, and it is varying parabolically. And because of shrinkage, hoop stress at the junction, at the inner radius of the outer tube is this much, and at the outer radius of the inner tube is this much, and it is varying parabolically, and this is positive, means this is tensile. Now, when fluid is filled inside the cylinder and it is treated as a single cylinder, then this is the variation of hoop stress from inner radius to outer radius. So, this is the inner radius and this is the outer radius. At different places, at different radius, we can find the value of hoop stress because of fluid pressure, and I see this is maximum hoop stress at the inner radius and minimum at the outer radius, and it is decreasing continuously, and this will be tensile. The hoop stress developed due to fluid pressure will be tensile. Hoop stress developed due to radial pressure for the inner tube, it will be compressive, and for the outer tube it will be tensile. Then we can combine, we can take the algebraic sum of the hoop stresses developed because of fluid pressure and because of radial pressure, and I can find the resulting stress. Okay. So, this green color curve diagram shows the resulting stress, resulting hoop stress. So, for inner tube this is, and for outer tube this is. So, if I compare the values, the maximum value in the case of resulting is less at the junction, means now we can apply, we can store more fluid in that compound cylinder. Now, this is the variation of hoop stress. Because of radial pressure, when one tube is shrunk over the another, at the junction, at the common radius of the two cylinder, there is somewhat pressure, radial stress. It is 0 at the inner radius and it is 0 at the outer radius. Only at the junction there is somewhat pressure, radial stress. Now, when fluid is applied, fluid is filled inside the cylinder, then this is the variation of hoop radial stress, not hoop radial. This red color shows at inner radius it is maximum and at outer radius it is 0. Now, if we combine these two because of this shrinkage, junction pressure and the fluid pressure, radial stresses, variation of radial stress is obtained like this. This is the variation of radial stress. Now, this is the concept of compound cylinder and how the stresses are calculated. Basically, the hoop stress is calculated in the compound cylinder, and how this radial stress varies in the compound cylinder. Now, we have a numerical problem. I will discuss that numerical problem in the next video. Thank you.